The mind is a complex and extensive territory. It's the body's central intelligence system, which ultimately psychosomatically imitates the sending and receiving aspect of texting. It sends neurotransmitters throughout the entire body, communicating with your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Studies show that the average layperson's perception on how one with psychopathic disorder should be treated is actually a moderately accurate understanding, yet they still carry misconceptions.
I have a doctorate in education and I am a high school reading specialist, but I'm now educating others. So I teach reading strategies to high school students, and I also take on ELL students and teach them how to manipulate the language.
Psychopathy roots from the known mental illness antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD. ASPD roughly affects over 200,000 people in the US each year. This disorder is characterized by a disregard for other people and a lack of consideration for what's right and wrong. People tend to feel lonely when they have this disorder, or ASPD in general.
Have had a student here or there who was eventually diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. I have personal experience with it. I grew up in a house with my dad is a psychologist, so it was something that we learned a lot about, especially with my family's from New York, so we heard a lot about Son of Sam, who was a serial killer. And that was probably the first time I ever heard about an antisocial personality disorder.
It's argued that excessively negative portrayals of psychopaths as ruthless killers by the media and popular culture have led misunderstanding and stigmatization of this condition.
Psychopath to me means somebody that is almost amoral. They just don't feel a right or wrong. Their world is very black and white. It's either I am going to do this or I'm going to do that. I am on this side and you're on that side. So it's a very rigid world that they live in. I think that in terms of how they live, how they interact in our world, they're bad, but I don't think that they understand that they're bad. I think that they're living by rules that they've created in their head, so that they're doing something that's bad, um, until you teach them. So there's kind of a gray area where is it that they transition from they know better and they shouldn't be doing these things, and they were, when they were younger, they're experimenting with things that they don't have control over, impulsivity and all that.
Invalid preconceptions on mental disorders have resulted in negative portrayals of the psychopaths through media, society, and the spread of false knowledge. Educating people on the research behind psychopathy raises awareness, and it is the first step in decreasing assumptions about the disorder.
So that's an answer without answering. So I think that, yes, it starts out as they're good people, they just don't know better. And then somewhere along the way, they learn that what they're doing is not right. And then they shift into being bad because they don't stop doing it. I have had, I think, three students who were diagnosed. And it was pretty easy to see early on that there was something very different about them, something kind of, it was almost dangerous. Like you knew that it was a feeling that you get that I knew I needed to keep a desk um, in between us if I was not having a good day with the kid. But the things that they would say or the actions that they had would really put up some red flags that I don't think this kid knows is going to pay attention to right and wrong.